Yesterday we had a lively discussion, an interesting one as well. When Jolene gave an input and Saikyang also gave some inputs. Firstly, I'd like to reiterate again that it is perfectly okay to disagree. Yes, in fact, this is an attitude that was encouraged by Shifu to disagree, but not disagree with any hard feelings inside. Yeah, our usual tendency is, I disagree with you and I don't like you. Usually these two comes together, and I have to admit myself as well, most of the time I feel that way. Why do you disagree with my views? Not just within Buddhist, but probably work issue, like my colleagues. When he said something that I don't disagree with, then I would feel, why are you, I feel like I'm personally attacked. Why do you disagree with me? Why are you attacking me? And I make it become personal. And this is a challenge that we all should overcome. Be comfortable with disagreeing with each other without involving your personal feelings, whether you dislike or likes. Yeah. In this way, we can learn the fastest, because we start to see the point of view of where the other side is coming from. Yeah. When we start to try to understand them, then we can see, so this is the way they think, and this is why they present it that way, and this is why they disagree. And in that way, you also gain a new perspective as well. Yeah. So, yeah, try to be comfortable with disagreement and yet distance yourself from getting hurt, getting your identity attacked. Yeah. That's what I want to say about disagreement. So please raise all your disagreements and objections, and then we discuss it openly. Let's go back again to this paragraph. I gave it a little bit of thought yesterday. The Abhidhamma offers the perspective that pain and pleasure only comes through the sense of touch, while feelings arising at other four sense doors are invariably neutral. I thought of a few examples, and this is my own conclusion. It feels like the range of objectivity for sense of touch is much more universal, I would believe, because something are just most people would agree to be painful. And I can give some example. If let's say I have a needle and I poke you with the needle, and most people would say that is a painful feeling. If I gave this example before, if you put your hand on top of fire, most people would say it's burning hot. But is there a range of subjectivity as well? Is there a room for subjectivity? I thought about it. I think possibly yes, because for example, I love it when I turn on aircon and the room is super cold. But some people, when they enter my room, they thought it was like a freezer. Oh, it's so cold. Yeah, this is the sensation. Both are cold, but one gives rise to pleasure to me. I love being in a cold room. The other person really cannot tahan being in a cold room. Why is your room like a freezer? They told me. And it is painful for them. Yeah. There is a range of subjectivity, but I would say the spectrum is much, let's say, narrower than the spectrum provided by all the other four senses. The range of subjectivity that gives rise to pain or pleasure through other four senses are, I think, much higher. Yeah, you can see an example of this when you probably go out and eat out with your friends. Yeah, some foods that I really like and I recommend them, and I thought they would like it too, but they say it's just okay, nothing special. Yeah, so there's a lot of subjectivity in terms of taste. For smell, yeah, I gave this example with regards to cauliflower. Whenever I see cauliflower, if I smell the cauliflower, I would definitely please get it, stay away. Put this away from my sight and nose. Yeah, but I think some people do love cauliflower. Yeah, even some of you might like cauliflower. Yeah, how many of you like cauliflowers? Oh, yeah. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raise your hand. So the range of subjectivity is really, I think, quite wide spectrum. Yeah. So I think Jolene does have a point that sense of touch has a subjectivity too. But I would still maintain the Abhidhamma perspective offers quite a sound explanation. Yeah. Yeah, at least that's my conclusion. Any of you would like anything with regards to this? Yeah, to conclude, I feel like this, through the four senses of this, sight, sound, smell, or taste, is mostly interpretative in our mind. But with the sense of touch, it can be interpretative, but the objectivity is much more universal. I think it's also because of biological reasons, because there's a lot of nerves involving in any parts of our bodies. It's all connected to nerves. And these nerves has an important function to tell the body if you are in danger. How? Whenever something gives rise to pain, for example, in an example of putting your hand on top of fire again, the nerves specifically function to tell your body to know, oh, that this is danger. You are in danger. That's why it gives a signal to pain in the sense of touch to your brain. And then most of people would say, oh, this is a painful feeling because it hurt the body objectively. Yeah, did you start to see the point? Yeah, that's why I feel like why this explanation of the Abhidhamma makes sense, at least to me. That the sense of touch is usually accompanied by pain or pleasure, simply for biological reason, simply for the reason that we have nerves connected all over in our sense of touch. Okay, anything to add on? If not, let's read a few more paragraphs. Yeah?
Just say something about that sense of touch.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Like your example of putting your hand over the fire. Although, most of us, or most of the time, you will feel pain, right, when there's fire. But it's also conditioned. Yeah, it's not all the time. For example, if you're freezing cold and then there's a fire there, for quite a while, you will feel pleasure because the fire gives warmth to your frozen hand, Yeah, so it's still situational based. But what this thing is trying to tell you is, that means sense of touch is usually pain or pleasure. And whereas the other senses, the pain and pressure comes after our mental evaluation. Yeah, that's my interpretation.
Okay, thanks for adding on. Okay, let's take a look at the next paragraph. In addition to this inquiry, a central feature to be contemplated in regard to neutral feelings is their impermanent nature. This is of particular importance because in actual experience, neutral feeling appears easily to be the most stable of the three types of feeling. Thus, to counteract the tendency to regard it as permanent, its impermanent nature needs to be observed. Contemplated in this way, neutral feeling will lead to the arising of wisdom, thereby counteracting the latent tendency to ignorance. What does it exactly mean? In regard this line, in regard to neutral feelings, is their impermanent nature. How can you contemplate an impermanent regarding the neutral feeling? For example, let's say when you are sleeping, when you're lying down, initially it was that was probably, you will start out with a comfortable position. That is probably on the range of pleasant and neutral, the spectrum. Usually you don't sleep in an uncomfortable position, right? If it's uncomfortable, you would immediately shift your body until you are comfortable. Yeah. So the spectrum range from probably starts from pleasant. This position is quite comfortable to me. It's pretty pleasant. And then gradually the pleasantness will probably subside because after 5-10 minutes, you start to get used to it. And then it starts to become neutral. Yeah. And then you fall asleep. In the middle of the night, you probably realize, oh, this position gives me a little bit of numbness in my head. And then you start to switch position again. Yeah? Wake up, switch position, and then change your position. So you can see it goes from pleasant to neutral. And then neutral for a while. Yeah, you can contemplate the impermanent nature. It cannot be neutral for the longest of time. This is one example that I can think of that I personally experienced. Another example is probably your sitting. Yeah, you would probably start out with a somewhat neutral position. You don't feel that much pain, nor that much pleasure when you do meditation. But after a while, probably your leg starts to cramp, numb, and then there's an urge to move. So you started out from neutral, which can last for a stable amount of period. And this is what is mentioned in the most stable of the three types of feeling. Yeah? So the neutral feeling can last quite a duration, but at some point it will become impermanent. It will not stay neutral forever. Your sitting position will become uncomfortable at some point. That is the impermanent nature, and that's how you can contemplate it. If Sister Billy is watching, this is also another way to contemplate neutral feeling. Anything to add on from any of you? Let me see. Okay,
So
yes.
how do we apply this to our daily life? I think what this sentence is trying to say is, in whatever we do, we have, if we have neutral feeling, like we're just walking or standing there, neutral, right? No pleasure, no pain. So we have to be aware, right? We have to be aware of what state of mind we are having and what type of feeling we are having. That means whatever we are seeing or whatever we are doing, we have to be aware. So long as we are aware, then there's fewer chance for like thoughts to arise from whatever you see or whatever you're doing to lead to like ignorance. Is that what it's trying to say? Like to lead to you later on clinging to it becomes a pleasure, then you cling to it. Next minute you experience pain, then
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the one that you mentioned, whatever you're doing in daily life, is more towards the previous foundation of mindfulness, contemplation of the body. If you recall, in the parts of clear comprehension, let's scroll up a little bit. It's probably somewhere around here. Yes. This exercise called mindfulness and clear comprehension, being aware of everything that we do. When performing any action, one performs it with full awareness of clear comprehension. Whatever you do, going and coming. You guys hear the airplane? Oh no, okay, I'll continue. Yeah, whatever you do, going, coming, looking ahead, looking aside, bending, stretching. Yeah, this is, I think, more relevant to the previous one. Contemplation of the body. But with regards to feeling, it's more like, what are you? What kind of feelings it gives you at a certain moment. Yeah. So I think it's probably good to differentiate between these two.
because like feeling arises all the time, whenever you're conscious, you will have feeling, whether it's pain, pleasure, or neutral, right? That's according to the book. So when that neutral feeling arises, then you have to watch that neutral feeling and know that it's impermanent, right? That eventually that neutral feeling might go into pleasure or pain. Is that what we're supposed to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. It actually depends on which one you want to practice. If you want to practice, for example, today, I just want to focus on feelings, then for today, then I just focus on how am I feeling, whether painful, pleasure, and neutral, and I contemplate their impermanence. Yeah. But another day, you might want to contemplate again on full comprehension. So whatever you do, just be aware of it. Yeah. It really depends on what you want to practice. Yeah. But probably I would suggest not to mix up those two so you don't get confused. Yeah. Maybe just focus on one at a time and then see whether you can do it. I think one is hard enough, but if you mix it up, well, you would probably get even more confused. But that's a good question. Does it make sense?
But eventually, I think the foundation for the four foundations for mindfulness, it is everything, right? Our body, our feelings, our thoughts, our mind, and the phenomena. So it's like happening at every now and then, like a continuous stream of happenings. Yeah.
That's true too. In fact, Sayalay, yesterday some of you attended Sayalay's talks, right? Sayalay told me that the enlightened one, they are 100% mindful all the time. Yeah. So that's probably at the highest levels. Yeah. At our level, if you want to mix it up and it works for you, yeah, I think you can do that. But if you just started out, maybe just try to focus one at a time. But
It's not that I try to mix it up, but because whatever that comes to the mind, then you sort of like bring the awareness up. So sometimes it can be the body give you discomfort and pain, then you start to get aware, and then you practice on that. And then sometimes the unwholesome thought comes up, and then you also aware. If you're aware of your irritation, of your anger, and then sometimes you want to use an antidote to counter it, like you want to use loving kindness. But like Sayalin mentioned yesterday, sometimes you can just watch. Yeah, you can just watch that feeling, yeah, or that sensation in the body, Yeah. So I remember I asked Shifu one question after I learned this mindfulness from Venerable Mahinda. He actually said to, out of the whole day, choose 1 hour, to be mindful, and then, you watch your, thoughts from there, your body, everything. And then I asked Shifu, because if you observe it in that way, sometimes you cannot function. That means you're observing. There's no time for you to react and respond to another person. It's like sometimes you are, trying to deal with your thoughts, and then the other person is already talking to you from A to B to C, and then you're still thinking about the A, so you can't function. Then I asked you for this question. Then he said, for beginner, it's either one. Either you have a specific period of time whereby, okay, I want to be mindful for this period, and then I practice mindfulness. Another way, he says, is as and when. That means as and when you are aware, you are mindful, then you are practicing. Yeah, from small little timings. Yeah, every time, whenever, you can bring up that mindfulness and awareness, that is the time for you to.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Thanks for adding on, Sai Kiang. Okay, any other comments before we wrap up for this morning? If not, let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛。Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a neutral Friday ahead. Tonight I will participate in a chess tournament. Last over 3 days, and today, Saturday and Sunday, and over 5 rounds. Yeah, but I will still be conducting the morning meditation. Don't worry, it doesn't affect. Okay.
All the best to you.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everyone, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.